Good evening. It's early evening, but good evening. My name is Daniel Young. I'm the owner and founder of Adapted Perspective and the Adapted Perspective social media platforms. And I am back talking about financial strategy and financial memes. So the normal disclaimers. This is an unedited video. You hear all my mistakes. And who knows what you'll hear in the background as I film these at my job site, which is why that background's there and not what off the bookshelf you normally see at my house. Um, uh, Such is life lately that I have to record at work. So I am not a financial advisor. I am a financial strategist and really just a strategist overall. And I don't speak like the herd. I walk in limited company and sometimes I walk alone. And what I mean by that last comment is that I don't speak like the herd. I'm pretty transparent. I try to be 100% transparent, super transparent, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your pants. So if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I love strategy and I really love targeted strategy. And that awareness is key because I'm going to keep sifting these financial means using our own investment strategies along with some everyday down to earth common sense. Now, it's not my goal to slander anybody. I'm interested in separating the good from the bad when it comes from or when it comes to financial advice because none of us want bad financial advice as we navigate our finances. So we are back to operating off the Pinterest page. I have a ton of tabs open. But it's this Pinterest page, and this is pretty much the background on every social media platform I have. We are on the memes board, and we are off this specific meme today. So there's a lot going on. But what I just off the bat, what I don't like about this meme is there's no date on it. So you when you're dealing with specific numbers, you want specific dates so that you can see if this is yesterday's data, which is not, or if you can see if it's the data from 4 years ago. But we have no idea when it was made. So all the data we have to go on is this. And it's single stock investment. That's not my jam. I don't like single stock investment. I'd much rather find a closed end fund where I could pick up two or three of these if you wanted to buy these companies, because you would get a much better yield. Current closed end fund yield is close to 8%. And that's just on average, meaning some are higher, some are at zero, but on average, that's about 8%. And this annual expenses doesn't make a ton of sense unless we consider it from a salary perspective. If you're looking to live off dividends and pay yourself $40,000 a year, then that kind of makes sense. So what this is how much stock you would have to own of each of these companies in order to have an income of $40,000. Now, two things. Traditional IRA account is a taxable account, meaning it's not straight $40,000. That $40,000 comes out whether you take it incrementally or all at once, and it's taxed. That's not ideal. So whether it's tax deferred or just taxed, not ideal. If you have it inside a Roth, it's not taxed. Now it's notated on your taxes, but it's also not taxed at all. So we calculate this 40, or I guess we calculate the value of the total stock using that 40. So if we take $40,000 is what you want to have, and you divide it by the yield of the individual company, you come up with the number you need in order to own. That's a lot of money. Like, that's a ton of money. The average, gosh, when 401ks came out, they were for the elite of companies. They started offering to everybody, and not everybody is going to end up with $850,000 worth of stock, or if anything for that matter. And I mean, 1.8, 5.7, that just seems excessive or obscene or so unlikely that I'll ever get there or that the average person will ever get there. So What I want to offer you in counter to that is a different way to do it. And this is off my email. I made this the other day. Move that out of the way. So this is traditional advice. It's traditional stock investment advice. Now we could use the same numbers and we could use 40 grand instead of 24 grand. It would just equate to more money. So the traditional stock investment strategy is if you want 2 grand in dividends a month, that means you're making 24,000 a year in dividend payments. That means at a 3% yield, which the current S&P 500 is, the current S&P average is less than 3%. But if it, we'll just say your portfolio generates a 3% dividend yield, that means you need about $800,000 in your portfolio to get $2,000 in dividend a month. But the problem with that is you get overall devaluation of your principal. And this would turn into a much longer video. But we'll just say if you're going off that 4% rule where you retire on 4% of your overall value, and there's a whole metric to this, you end up devaluing your principal. In that you're getting sub-inflation dividends. Inflation, even on a fantastic year, is still around 4%. And that 4% you're supposedly paying you, so on $1 million portfolio, 4% would be 40 grand. That 4% you're supposedly paying you is probably half your existing salary, or maybe less than half your existing salary. So it's really hard to go from living on or on making 80,000 a year and then suddenly cutting everything in half and still having it taxed. So the traditional investment is not what I recommend. Honestly, I recommend our system. So closed-end fund strategy. Still want to gain the same amount every month, right? Or the same amount every year, but you need a lot less. Our current brokerage account has a 10% yield. Our current Roth account has a 12% yield. So the principal stays intact. You retire on the dividends. You still lose 4% to inflation. Depending on what you want in actual dividends, especially out of the Roth, it's a non-taxable account. So long as you jump through the hoops, it is a non-taxable account. Then whatever you want to generate, you just have to figure out the best yield for you. Like when I do weekly videos on closed-end fund strategy and picking the best closed-end fund in the current market for long-term strategy, the goal, honestly, is 9% or more dividends, unless there's a good reason to pick something with less than a 9% dividend. And it's extremely hyper-focused and targeted strategy, trying to pick the best absolute deal with the best metrics for now that we can use long-term. So 12% might sound impossible to you because 1.2 is your average. But I can tell you in a closed-end fund battlefield, it is so much easier to average between 10 and 12%. It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to buy a single company. Interesting. I don't want to buy a single company and have the risk tied up from that one company and get a really subpar yield for that when I could buy a closed-end fund that has that company and more, right? I can pay less for the closed-end fund. I get an insanely good dividend. And if I'm buying it in the current market, then our strategy, I'm buying it for cheaper than it's normally priced. I'm going to collect dividends as it scales up in overall value. And at some point I sell it, but I still just rake all the dividends and I carry all the money forward. And so long as it stays inside our Roth account and we jump through the hoops, no taxes. So if I sell something for gain in the brokerage account, tax then, right? And at some point, it's income. I'm selling it and transferring out. I'm paying taxes on those capital gains. But in the Roth, when I sell it, everything stays inside the portfolio, everything stays inside the account, and I just carry the money forward. So it really is. I leave it to you. Do you want single stock investment, which would be this? You've got to own $850,000 ish, right? Or would you like a lot less money? Like we'll do the same metric. So if you had $850,000 at a 10% portfolio in dividends, not in like we want our basis to go up. When you buy something at 6.5, you're hoping to sell it at whatever price point, right? 8, 9, 10, whatever. So that capital gain we want. But as the market does this, we want stuff that pays consistent dividends. So at 850,000 invested on a 10% average yield is that per year and that per month. And inside a Roth, if you can keep it in there that long and grow that amount on a Roth, it's that much a month tax free if you can jump through the hoops. So take your pick. Single stock, closed end fund, your choice. But this is our strategy, and that's why. So that's all I got. Short and sweet, hopefully direct to the point. If you like my content, consider subscribing to my channel, hit the like button, head over to, normally I say head over to Facebook, but I'm moving my content. I'm keeping my Facebook pages in place, but I am merging content onto Instagram. And the Instagram channel is just like the YouTube channel. It's Adapted Perspective. It's whatever, Instagram Adapted Perspective, whatever that handle goes to. But if you search on Instagram for Adapted Perspective, you'll find me there. And that reminds me, I need to change my info on these, or change the description on these videos. So I'm going to try to merge content. So between these videos, the closed-end fund videos, the Scholarship Hub information, and the 12-step information off of the Navigate Your Finances page, plus the financial memes and tidbits in between, I'm going to attempt to merge all of that into one place on Instagram. And quite honestly, it's going to be a lot. It's a very different platform than Facebook and YouTube and Pinterest. And I'm so used to working off a computer, doing all of those things, and Instagram really shuns computer use and prioritizes phone use. So it's going to be a huge learning curve for me, but a learning curve I need. So yeah, so if you want to find me as of November 1st, I'm on Instagram a lot more than I am on Facebook. As it comes to you in your journey, you are the captain of your ship, and hopefully you know where you're going and why. But if that doesn't make sense, then I encourage you to find me on Instagram as of November 1st, which is Friday. And come see and come check out the 12 steps to financial freedom. It's our system and how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And our end place is probably different than where you want to end up. So why tailor your stuff to our map? It's let's work on a map for you, or I teach you really how to make a map for you and help you figure out the underlying reasons and thought processes of why you want to do those things and how to put the system in place and then how to scale it. So wherever your journey lies and whatever path is or whatever's included on your journey, I hope it's going well. And I hope you find what you're searching for, or I hope you reach that ideal destination that you want to be. And if that doesn't make sense, then yes, come find me on Instagram. But whatever it is that you're working towards is not going to manifest simply by thinking about it. You're going to have to go out and do something about it. So do not sit back on your hands and hope for the best. Get out there and make it happen. So I will see y'all on another video. This is Daniel Young signing out, and I will see y'all on the next one. Hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.